everybody, my name is Ravjot Mahek Singh. We are here at the Sundance Film Festival headquarters in Park City, Utah with Brown Girl Magazine, and I'm going to be bringing you all the sauce, all the tea, and all of the scoop on these amazing, incredible, visionary films and the incredible teams that made them happen. Today we're about to interview the legendary Brown Queen herself, Simone Ashley, for her upcoming animated feature film, 10 Lives. Simone Ashley plays the character Rose, who is an incredibly intelligent bee conservationist. I am with the wonderful Simone Ashley, and she is one of the lead cast members of 10 Lives, an animated feature film, and it's your first ever animated film, I've heard. How was that process like?
So I grew up with animation movies, Disney, all of that kind of stuff, all the classics. So it's always been very instilled in me that very imaginative world. Yeah, I'm a huge fan of Chris's work, our amazing director. He's literally, all of his movies were my childhood. So it was a no-brainer really to take upon this project. It's definitely a different flavour, for a better word, of the craft, I guess, to use your voice to deliver a story and convey an emotion. And it's my singing debut in a movie, which I'm so proud and so excited about, and so grateful to the producers for allowing me to be on the soundtrack with Zayn Malik. So yeah, it's been a incredibly exciting process.
From brown girl to brown girl. We're gonna get into it today. We're gonna get into it all. So 10 Lives does an amazing job of centering topics that are kind of environmentally conscious, such as bee conservation, and exploring natural solutions. In your opinion, what are some environmental issues that you wish were highlighted more in the media?
Wow, that is a really good question. I care a lot about the ocean. Spending a lot of time in California has instilled that in me. So that is something that I'm passionate about and that I want to learn more about. So that's my answer.
I like that answer. I too care very deeply about the ocean. And I think you did play one of the sisters in The Little Mermaid, so I would say you already have a leg up in that department.
Yeah, and I mean, that movie, Rob Marshall and Javier Bardem, a lot of people in that cast do really have a deep care for the ocean and are activists and promoting, ocean conservation and how we can protect our environment. So yeah, that was also an eye-opener and a lesson that I learned when working on that movie.
10 Lives is such an incredible look at care for others and how sometimes caring for others can actually help heal something within ourselves too. How does that concept of care come into play into your daily life?
Wow, I think, I always, if you have the means, and I always encourage people to practice therapy. I think that personally for me has really helped me understand myself. The heart is a house. I think it's your responsibility to tidy up your rooms and do some cleaning, so it's available to let other people in. I think therapy has really helped me kind of move past like myself and maybe get out of my head and open space to care for the people around me and be a better listener and be more curious in how I can be more generous to the people around me. So I think it starts with yourself. You can't really shine your light on people if you're running on an empty tank.
I like that, especially given how stigmatized mental health is and therapy is in our South Asian community. So thank you for speaking on that.
Yeah. I think we're in a generation where we're articulating it more and talking about it more and connecting with each other more.
Yes.
And without any judgment to our previous generations, I think my parents are first generation immigrants and they had to lead a life with things that I can't really relate to, or I'm so lucky enough that I don't have to carry those kind of pressures. So yeah,
of course. And you can open doors for them
exactly
in reverse. And that's a big theme here in the film as well, that reverse care as well. As a South Asian icon, an advocate for representation in mainstream media, when you join independent projects or just projects in general, do you kind of give insight on that portrayal of a South Asian character? Like how do you kind of, make sure that the representation is accurate?
Yeah, I think if we're in a culturally specific movie, then totally, yeah. I love to learn more and more about my culture. I grew up in a Western society and between like England and California. I didn't grow up in India. I grew up in an Indian family, certainly. So I think there's still so much more to learn within my culture. So even when taking upon those kind of roles, I'm just there with an open heart, and of course I'll convey my ideas that are personal to me from my upbringing. For this movie in particular, it wasn't something I felt necessarily that I had to voice. I was just so focused on making Rose, you know, a character that anyone in the world could relate to. It's what the beauty about this film is, it's such a universal language, the love between a human and an animal.
Yeah, absolutely. I actually noticed that about the character herself too, is that it wasn't so heavily focused on like pushing that agenda of like, this is clearly a South Asian role made for like a South Asian person. It just seemed like a very universal role. I think one of the only like real you know, things that I caught on to, at least watching the film, in terms of like, you know, a reference to South Asian culture was maybe that line about like lentil soup being cooked or something, and that's how, you know, he follows you home. But that's about the only reference that I really caught on to, which I think is actually really brilliant, because then it allows anybody to be that character. Young women leaders such as Rose face real life villains such as Professor Craven all the time, and minorities do as well. How have you navigated the real life villains in your life, or in this industry, or really however you want to speak or answer that question? And how would you kind of encourage other young women or minorities to navigate that as well?
Another very profound question. Great question. I think it's a balance of compassion and, you know, standing up for yourself. I think, you know, practicing not to judge someone for their actions, if they have been villainous, if we're going to use that word. Practicing compassion, understanding where they've come from maybe, and life's too short, man. Like, sometimes you just got to turn your back and walk away, which is something I'm learning. I think sometimes maybe I think, you know, maybe I can be slightly naive and think certain things, you know, everything ends up in with a bow at the end, and that's really not the case. So yeah, I'm practicing and learning on being like, you know what, I'm gonna walk away. Yeah,
I like that. And there's a strength in that. There is an ancient Chinese saying that you have to fight like the tide of an ocean. Sometimes the ocean recedes, and that is the strength of that battle.
Wow,
and sometimes the ocean, you know, brings this big wave, and then that's the strength of that type of battle, being like aggressive. But there is a beauty and a strength to, you know, pulling back and just walking away from something that isn't right for you.
Yeah, that is a really strong one, because you don't have to have power. Like, you don't have to win, like an argument or a situation. You can step back. You don't need that. And I think sometimes we think we do, but we don't need that.
No, protect your energy. That's how it is.
Yeah.
That's
wow. Yeah. It's deep.
No, I like that. Well, that about summarizes what we have for you today. But I just wanted to let you know on behalf of Brown Girl Magazine that there are just so many endless comments about you, filled with just deep admiration, and especially deep admiration for how you carry yourself and how you represent, you know, especially South Indian women in particular. So I just wanted to tell you that, like, the audience loves you. There are so many young people that look up to you, and I just really, really deeply appreciate your work.
Oh, thank you. You are so kind. Thank you so much.
You deserve it. You deserve it. And congratulations on 10 Lives. It was so fun. I just watched it last night, and it was a blast.
Thank you. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much for talking to Brown Girl Magazine today.